and welcome to Digital Talks, the series about what here at Siemens and our customers and partners have learned on their journey of digitalization. I have on the sofa with me today Nick Wright, who's Head of Manufacturing Industries at Digital Catapult. Welcome.
Thank you very much.
Now, Siemens have learned that manufacturers have some really quite impressive and unparalleled support when it comes to getting digitalization working for them. So I know you've got a lot of advice and excitement to share about this. But before we start, let's just find out a bit about yourself. Can you tell us a bit about Digital Catapult, where you are now?
Yeah, so our key role really is we try and help industry advance the role of digital technology. So really what we're trying to do is accelerate the early adoption of advanced digital technologies. What we really mean by advanced digital technologies, we focus on like three of the key areas that we see as the most emerging and the most exciting in the market at the moment. So things like AI and machine learning, future networks, which includes work on 5G and low power wide area networks, and the immersive space as well. So things like virtual reality, augmented reality and haptics. And then we're always keeping our eye on the ball for future technologies as well. So we have a thing we call Future Focus, which is really looking at distributed ledger technology and blockchain at the moment. But we're really acutely aware that technology push is not what industry needs. And these technologies, although they're landing in other industries, have got huge opportunities in places that get forgotten.
I mean, it is exciting. Like you say, it is a very new world. And I think that's where one of the challenges come. A lot of manufacturers don't know how to navigate it. I mean, what do organizations like yourself who can support manufacturers look for? Is it a product? Is it more of an ethos?
So when we're talking to industry, we really need them to be excited about possibilities. One of the great things about manufacturing and engineering as an entire sector is that people tend to be really inquisitive and they want to learn about stuff. And so a lot of the companies we work with really successfully are really curious about these technologies. They want to know how they're going to impact their business. So that spirit point I think you brought up is really key. It's that a desire to want to learn, but that comes with it a mentality about risk as well. Like we need people to be understanding that we are right at the beginning of the fourth industrial revolution. We're not midway into this journey. We're at the beginning, and these technologies are still being proven from how they work, but also the type of business models that they can impact. So we need people to be understanding that not all these technologies are going to revolutionize everything. And it's a time for experimentation and seeing what we can get out of them and where the value really sits.
I mean, I think this idea of experimentation is exciting and also quite scary in some ways. A lot of manufacturers perhaps don't have the sort of strategic maturity, really. Does that matter, or is there any advice you could give on that?
It's a really fair point. I mean, it is terrifying. These technologies are new, they're risky, and I think what we really try and encourage is to try and look at digital in a similar way to the way they look at the rest of their R&D programs. So if you look across manufacturing as a sector, there's more investment in manufacturing industries than pretty much any sector in R&D. And most of that goes on things like new materials, new processes, new machine tools, new ways of actually running the manufacturing operation. And what we'd encourage people to do is to try and look at digital in a similar way. So it's not always been the safest thing to go and develop a new material or a new alloy or to experiment with a new operation inside a factory. And the appetite for risk is there because it's comfortable, it's in the domain expertise that we have in the industry. But ultimately, there's a ton of expertise out there in the tech ecosystem that can help uncover this.
So it is really this new way of thinking, isn't it? And we talked a lot today with various people about transforming together this idea of we need to be doing this collaboratively, which is not necessarily a way people are thinking or manufacturers work. How do you sort of convince people that that's the way forward?
There's a huge gap, in my opinion, between the industrial domain expertise that we have in the manufacturing sector and then the technology expertise that kind of sits in the tech ecosystem. And we do need to bring that together. Encouraging collaboration, I would suggest, is all about trying to figure out where you place investment. So at the moment, the industry places a lot of R&D investment in things that it feels are safe. And so by engaging organisations like, well, not just ourselves, but also the rest of the Catapult network, in particular the High Value Manufacturing Catapult as well, does an awful lot of great work in this space. And looking at where the different strengths that different organisations have and trying to figure out how to tie them together.
And I think that to me is really exciting, this idea that everyone is pioneers, but we can learn from each other and transform together, and really the future is exciting.